Sup nerds, BT6 is finally upon us. I just woke up from my pre-release from last night, and I'm going to go over my sealed deck and how I did. So let's get into it. And starting off with our Digitama, we pulled 3 of them. One Digimon. When attacking once per turn, if you have exactly 3 security cards, gain 1 memory. I resolved this effect, I know at least once, but potentially more than that. But I think it was just one time. But it helped me make a fun little play on that resolution, so I was happy with that. One Pentamon. Once per turn, if you attack an opponent's Digimon, trigger, draw 1. This never happened. Surprisingly, I figured this was probably going to be the most consistent, besides the one I'm about to show you, the most consistent one that I would resolve, but never happened. I was usually swinging in security even when I had him in play to where I potentially could draw a card. And then one Digimon, definitely the most splashable of the 3 that I pulled. When attacking, when you attack a player, this gets 1000 DP for the turn. Very strong, just to make your guys 1000 DP bigger when you're swinging into security, or for game, just potentially swing over blockers. But definitely a good one. I was happy to see 3 Digitama. Every sealed event I played so far, I pulled exactly 3 Digitama, so happy to maintain that streak and not pull less. Starting off with our rookies, we got 2 of the Chikurimon. It's security at the end of the battle, trigger de-digivolve one on one of your opponent's Digimon. This was only in security a couple of times. One game it was actually both of these were in my security, but that game didn't matter because I was so far behind against definitely a superior deck. But definitely a good card for Black to have access to, just another little fun thing to play with. 2 Gizamon. The inheritable is your turn while your opponent has no Digimon with Digivolution cards in play. This Digimon gets plus 2000. Pretty cool effect because the way this is worded is actually it comes into play, or it's active whenever your opponent has no Digimon in play. As in addition to if they have Digimon with no sources in play, so definitely a good card for blue to have access to, just to make their guys big relatively consistently. 2 Goblimon. Inheritable your turn once per turn. When you trash a card in your hand using one of your effects, this Digimon gets plus 2000 for the turn. I think I only have 1 card in here that has an effect where I trash. And I actually was able to, I think, make this live once, but it's definitely a good card just to potentially make your guys a little bit bigger. And then we have some one-ofs. This guy, very strong. I'm surprised they gave blue a memory blocker. Definitely, I think that's actually a mistake, but we'll see. Maybe they'll give a memory blocker to the other colors that don't have one yet as well. 1 Shoutmon. When attacking, once per turn, if Digimon has Blitz, trigger, draw 1. I do have 1 Blitz Digimon in here, so I went ahead and tossed this guy in. Bakumon. When attacking, if your opponent has 2 or more suspended Digimon, gain 1 memory. Pretty good. This was never live, but definitely a good card to have because it's not once per turn and there are ways to swing multiple times in this deck and in this meta. And then 1 Elecmon. On deletion, delete one of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. Pretty good card. You can have this be popped by an effect, or you can just run into someone's security and just get a 1-for-1 out of one of their guys. Pretty strong. 1 Pulsemon. On play, you may trash top cards of your security stack until there are 3 left, gain 1 memory for each card. And then his inheritable is your turn. While you have exactly 3 security cards, Digimon gains jamming. I think this, I never activated this effect because I think trashing in this meta is probably not good unless you actually like pulled some of the cards that like let you recover when you do that. So I never activated that effect, but I think I had this jamming effect live, I think once or twice. It just happened to be live. I just like kept it in my hand and then like played it to where I knew I was about to be at 3 security, and then I just had jamming for like 1 or 2 checks. And then last card, Huckmon. On play, reveal top 5 cards of your deck out of 2 Digimon cards with Huckmon, Justmon, or Sistmon on the names. Place the remaining cards at the bottom of your deck in any order. Very strong card. I did pull several Huckmon cards and a Jesmon, spoilers. But I didn't pull a single Sistermon, which kind of made me sad because pulling Jesmon is a lot less valuable, and also the Huckmon cards in general if you do not have Sistermons to put in your deck. It's cool to like have a searcher for some of your levels, because I pulled I think a 1 Huckmon card from each level and a Jesmon at least. But definitely not as strong like having this line if you don't have Sistermons in your deck. And that is it. I played 12 rookies. I typically like to play a little more than that, especially in these pre-releases, but I had to make a few cuts because I did actually put 1 option card in here, and unfortunately did have to cut a rookie to fit it in. Onto our champions. 2 Parasaurmon, 3 to drop, 2 to Digivolve, 5000 DP, very strong. Definitely outclasses the previous 3 drop, 2 to Digivolve champions that I think had 3000 DP. Very good to just hard drop this, then you just have a 5k beater on the next turn. And then 1 Bulkmon, your turn, while you have 3 or more security cards, Digimon gets security +1. Of not the best, unless you can get a little bit bigger than this. But you can aggro people, and if you get this on top of the Pulsemon, that gives it jamming if you have 3 exactly. It's pretty strong. I did swing in a couple of times with this guy when he was at 5 or 6,000 DP. I don't think I ever got the full 2 checks out of him though, unfortunately, because he is kind of small. Small boy. Then we pulled 1 Ginkakumon promote. He has Rush, and on play you may place 1 Ginkakumon and or Ginkakumon from your trash and discard Digivolution cards in any order. If you do, place 2 cards with this effect, trigger draw 1 and gain 1 memory. This card, I activated this effect once, and I put I'll go ahead and show it. I put this underneath him, but I don't have the regular Ginkakumon in this deck, so I wasn't able to resolve the full effect. This guy actually did win me a game. I had my opponent in a position where he had to put up a second blocker in order to not lose on his turn. So he had to hard drop, I believe, Gundramon to put me to 10. And then I just drew for turn and showed him this card for game, just to avoid playing it out. Very strong to have Rush. And her effect is when attacking, you may trash 1 card in your hand and delete 1 of your opponent's level 3 Digimon. Very strong effect in this format. I don't think I ever actually was able to resolve her effect. I did activate it with no targets to trash a certain card in my hand, which I'll get to later. But people were... I didn't draw her very often, and when I did, people either played around her or just happened to play around her when she was live. So, and then we pulled 2 Bauhuckmon. When attacking, once per turn, if you have a Sistermon in play, delete 1 of your opponent's Digimon 5000 DP or less. Very strong card, obviously, but we do not have any Sistermons, so it's just a vanilla. There's literally never a time when this effect's going to resolve. But it is 6000 DP for 2 Digivolve, so that's why I actually put it in here. And it's a target for the Huckmon to search her. We pulled 2 8mon, a very strong 8000 DP champion. Definitely a good card. I was happy to see this. Lets you aggro people's security if you're feeling frisky. And just a strong card to beat over other champions and potentially some ultimates. And then 2 Eosmon. I pulled a White Tamer, but I didn't put it in my deck. But I put these 2 in because I pulled some of the level 5 Eosmons, let you play the other Eosmons for free when you attack. That's the only reason it's in here. Very strong card. I was able to resolve that when attacking effects, like once or twice. But pretty cool to just be able to play free bodies. Definitely want to play into that if we do if we do open the cards to do something like that. And that is it. I played 11 champions. On to our ultimates. 1 Entmon. Your turn when once per turn, when this Digimon deletes an opponent's Digimon in battle and survives, unsuspend it. Pretty good for running over champions and rookies if they're suspended. 8000 DP, it's going to let you beat over pretty much any rookie or champion. I drew this a few times, but it was never the correct play to Digivolve into it for that purpose, but it definitely was the reason why I put it in here. 1 Majiramon. This effect never came up. When attacking, if your opponent has no Digimon with no Digivolution cards. If your opponent has no Digimon with Digivolution cards in play, unsuspend this Digimon. Like I said with the blue rookie, this is also in effect if your opponent has no Digimon cards in play because it falls under this wording. But that was never live. I only drew him a couple of times though. I did activate this once or twice. Just trash the top Digivolution card of one of your opponent's Digimon on Digivolve. Overall, not a bad card. I definitely put him in here because you can potentially swing twice in certain situations. And our Blitz Digimon, the only Blitz Digimon we had. That's the only reason I put him in here is because he works. Like, he'll let you do funky things. Like I actually Digivolved into him and then swung and then gained a memory from my baby that I had underneath him to where it brought the memory back on my side of the field, or actually put me at 0. and then I Digivolved into a Mega so he couldn't swing over it on his turn. So pretty cool card. And if you have the Shoutmon underneath him, you get to draw a card. And then 2 level 5 Eosmons. You can include with 50 cards, 50 copies of this card in your deck. Blah, blah, blah. When attacking, you may play 1 level 5 or lower Eosmon from your hand for free. And your turn, this Digimon gets 1000 DP. This is overall just a very strong card in this format, just being able to get 1000 DP. And then if you pull multiples of these or the other Eosmons, you get to play them for free if you're swinging. Very strong card. I was happy to see a couple of these. And then 2 Manticoremon. When attacking, you may trash the top card of your security stack to have one of your opponent's Digimon get minus 5000 DP for the turn. Very strong level 5 because it lets you beat over 11,000 DP or 10,000 DP Megas. And also, obviously, anything smaller than that. But very strong to be able to swing over Megas with Ultimates. And that's definitely the reason why I put him in the deck. And then 2 Volcanomon. A very good card, probably going to be in black this format. His inheritable is your turn while your opponent has an unsuspended Digimon in play. This Digimon gains security attack +1. Very strong. I had him under a Mega a few times where they get an extra check. Definitely happy to see this card. And that is it. I am playing 9 Ultimates. And on to our Megas. We pulled 1 Pile Volcamon. He has Reboot, which is very strong. It's less strong in this format specifically because you can... there's so much removal in this format. Like, there's so many removal cards in this set that he's less likely to stay on the field. But having Reboot lets it makes it to where your opponent can't swing over him on their turn, obviously. So that's definitely a strong effect to have in a sealed format. And then opponent's turn, once per turn, when one of your other Digimon is deleted, trigger D-Digivolve 1 on one of your opponent's Digimon. Very strong effect because if you have him face up and then you have like a suspended champion or something, if they swing over it, you can D-Digivolve their Mega or their Ultimate or whatever. A cool Floodgate card, but unfortunately due to how much removals in the format, he's not as strong as he potentially could be. 1 Eldredimon, whatever, security attack +1, and then opponent's turn, your opponent's effects can't reduce the Digimon's DP. This guy actually won me a game just by himself. I built up into him in my raising area, then brought him out, and I just kept swinging with him. I think I had the Volcamon underneath him, the Volcanomon underneath him, so he was swinging for 3 checks each time, so like the game was pretty much over whenever I brought him out. But my opponent had Wyvern's Breath in his hand, and he also had the yellow Dual Tamer, where you can attack with a yellow Digimon and make it 1000 DP smaller and then swing over it with his Mega that he had on the field. But unfortunately, he never could do that because of this card's effect, so he just sat on the field. He had no way of getting over it. Very strong card against yellow specifically. Against everything else, it's kind of meh, but still a fun card to have in this format. And then we pulled 1 Alt-Art Jesmon, a very cool looking card, but unfortunately because, like I said, we didn't pull any Sistermons, he's definitely nowhere near as strong if you do not have Sistermons in your deck. He's basically just an 11,000 DP beater, because in order for to get this effect, you'd have to hard play something, which you could play a Rookie for 3, potentially, to get his effect live, which is when you play another Digimon for your turn, it gets 1000 DP and piercing. But your opponent setting you to 3 is a requirement for that to even be possible, so very unlikely that you're going to resolve his effect if you don't have Sistermons. And then we pulled 2 Mermukasmon. He has Retaliation. He only has 10,000 DP, but having Retaliation definitely makes up for that. And then on deletion, if you have 10 or more cards in your trash, you may play 1 Ornismon from your trash without paying its memory cost. A very strong effect. And guess what else we pulled? 2 Ornismons. Sadly, this play was actually never live. There's once or twice where I got this in trash with him on the field, but I didn't have 10 cards in my trash in order to activate the effect to bring him back for free. Kind of sad, but we did pull potentially, you know, the Wombos on people, but we weren't able to pull it off ever. This card's very strong, especially if you bring it out for free with his effect. Security attack +1, 12,000 DP, and then on play, delete one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. Honestly, this card isn't even that terrible to just hard play on somebody, especially if you have some of the removal cards in your hand, some of the options to like let you counter your opponent's play, whatever they do with like the 10 memory you're probably going to give him with his effect, or with his play cost. But very strong card. Sad I wasn't able to wombo combo anybody, because whenever I was looking at the set beforehand, I was like, man, if you get like these two guys out, that's like a very powerful combo in a sealed format. And I pulled 2 and 2 and then just never got the play off. And that is it for our megas. We are playing 7. And then I played 1 option card, Iron Fisted Onslaught. Delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest play cost. Security activate the main effect. A very strong card. It outs whatever the biggest Digimon on your opponent's field, and if it's tied, you get multiple Digimon out. Very strong card. I wanted to add this in here. I had enough black cards to where it was I was going to be able to make it live if I drew it. I did draw it a few times. I think I activated it once or twice from my hand, and it was never in security, sadly. But it was definitely a card I was willing to make some room for. This is actually what I cut my 13th rookie for, is this guy. And that is it for my deck. I did go 3-1. I lost in round 2 to by far superior deck. I think he pulled 6 supers. A very strong deck. There wasn't really a whole lot I could do. He had one game he had Ancient Troymon sitting on the field, and that card's effect says when your opponent attacks, you can suspend up to 2 of their other Digimon on the field that don't have blocker. And I didn't pull a single blocker, if you guys didn't notice, which is also kind of bad. I think there were like 3 or 4 blockers in this set, but I didn't pull one. And so like it really slowed me down having the Ancient Troymon on the field. So like I don't foresee myself ever coming back from that situation without seeing my removal, which is the one of Iron Fisted Onslaught. I didn't have any removal for level 6s in my deck besides that, because he was never going to attack with the Ancient Troymon. And even if he did, it's 13,000 DP, so like it would have been hard for me to get over. It's possible to get over, but it would have been hard for me to get over on my turn anyway. And then I forgot what happened in the other game, but basically I think I was forced to give him a bunch of memory, and he just set up to kill me on the following turn, and there wasn't anything I could do. The other 3 matches, kind of back and forth. I think in the other 3 matches I only dropped 1 game, but I basically just aggroed everybody else, because not pulling blockers in a sealed format, you really have to go. You can't afford to just sit there because you don't have any way to just protect yourself. So I just knew it. I knew what I had to do, and I just aggroed people. I Ricky rushed when necessary and things like that. But I just wasn't able to do that against a far superior deck in round 2. I think I finished 7th. My tiebreakers weren't awesome, so it bumped me down a little bit. But I will be opening up my first box, as well as my prize support and stuff I got for the pre-release, in the video coming up. So you guys might want to check that out if you're interested in seeing some of that stuff. But I do appreciate you guys stopping by. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content and want to come back for more. But until next time, see ya.